Very good afternoon to all of you. In our previous class, we have discussed, I think, the expectation. Okay, expectation and variance of a random variable. That we have taken that expectation of a random variable is nothing but a mean of that random variable. And then we have found the variance of that random variables. The variance is again there in terms of expectation, right? Now we are formally moving on to the distribution, probability distribution, which one by one we need to do some sorts of distribution, some models of distribution, which we are going to utilize in our particular problems. Okay. These models of distributions are divided into two parts. First part is for the discrete random variable, rather you can say some distributions are there for discrete random variable and some distributions are there for continuous random variable. As we have learned in our previous classes that random variables that we are going to discuss now, there are two types. One is discrete random variable, another is continuous random variable. Okay, so there are some distribution which are for discrete random variable for the cases of discrete random variable, and there are some distribution which are for the cases of continuous random variable. So among the cases of discrete random variable, the very first distribution that we are going to learn over here today, that is the binomial distribution. Binomial distribution. Okay, so look over here, binomial distribution, how it will go and go on, and what will be the probability model behind this binomial distribution. That means what is the structure of the problem, what is the model of the problem where we are going to utilize this binomial distribution. So let us have an idea at first. Binomial distribution, right? A discrete random variable capital X is said to have binomial distribution with parameters small p and n. With parameters small p and n if its PMF. PMF means probability mass function. If its probability mass function is given by fx equals to ncx, p to the power of x, q to the power of n minus x. What is ncx? This is the combination part, ncr as we have to. So ncx, p to the power of x, q to the power n minus x. This is the value of your PMF for x ranging from 0, 1 to n. For the values of x from 0 to n. And for all other values of x, if it is greater than n or some intermediate value between 0, 1, 1, 2, for all other values of x, our fx should be 0. That's why it is written over there, fx equals to 0 otherwise. Okay. So now let us clear out what are these parameters and what does it signify, p, q, x and all these things over here in this PMF. What is that? The n that we have used over here, small n, that is the total number of independent trials. The total number of trials, or else you can say trials will be independent in binomial distribution. So that's why it is written over there, independent trials. So total number of trials in the experiment, whatever the problem you are doing, whatever the experiment we are doing, in that experiment, the total number of trials will be our small n. Then what is P? Small p is the probability of success for each particular trial. For each particular trial, there will be a probability of success. That what is the probability of getting this, getting that. So write this. So probability of success denoted by small p. Then what is Q? Q is nothing but the probability of failure. Probability of failure. That is the complementary part of the success, and that's why it is written over there. Q can be taken as 1 minus P. Because it is a complementary of success, so it is 1 minus P. Okay, and Q is nothing but probability of failure. So our P is probability of success, N is the total number of trials, and Q is the probability of failure, or Q is related to P as 1 minus P. In this way, we are going to find out the PMF. We are going to have a PMF for a binomial distribution, or rather you can say a random variable following a binomial distribution. Then what is this small fx? This small fx is nothing but what we have learned in our previous classes as PMF. If I go for whiteboard, this small fx in PMF is nothing but probability that the random variable is taking the particular value small x. That is probability that your capital X equals to taking the value small x. Then according to the value of small x, say I require probability x equals to 0, then it becomes f0. I require probability x equals to 1, then it becomes f1. So likewise it will go on, right? So again if I go for the note, say, so now we are going to learn, so this is all about the PMF. What is the structure of the PMF? What are the parameters which are the important two parameters in binomial distribution? That they are the number of trials, rather you can say the total number of trials, and P, the probability of success. One more is there, that is Q, and that is related to P. So we are not going to take it into parameter. Two independent parameters are there, N and P. Okay, so this is the structure. Now next we are going to learn, look what is written over there. Next we are going to run a probability model for a binomial distribution. That means a model or the criteria where we are going to utilize this binomial distribution. There are some criteria for our problems for which we can, by seeing which we can see that here we are going to, whether we are going to utilize our binomial distributions or not. Okay. So what are those criteria for a binomial distribution? For applying a binomial distribution, number one, the number of trials is fixed. The number of trials is fixed. That means we should not have the variable trials. The number of trials will be fixed. If the total number of trials, if it is 3, then it should be 3. If it is 4, then it should be 4. Likewise. Okay. Number 2, each trial results in one of the two possible outcomes. Each trial results in one of the two possible outcomes. What are those two possible outcomes? Either success or failure. That means one outcome will be considered. Each trial should have only two outcomes. Okay. So either it will be a success outcome with the success and outcome with the failure. Right? Number 3. The trials are independent in nature. The trials, whatever if we are doing 3, 4, 5, whatever the number of trials we are doing, each trial should be independent of the other ones. Okay. Next, probability of success remains constant from trial to trial. Probability of success for a particular trial, the probability of success should be remains constant. For the next trial, again the probability of success should remains constant. It won't be variable. For the first trial, now I have got the probability 1/3, and you are getting for the first trial, your probability will be 1/4. This should not be there. For each and every individual, probability of success for each particular trial should remain constant. Okay, so if these criteria holds, then we say that the problem that we are facing or that we are doing is from the binomial distribution, or we are going to solve the problem utilizing the binomial distribution. Okay, now before moving on to the properties of binomial distribution, I'll take a problem where I'm going to utilize this probability model so that it will be clear that how this probability model relates with the problem. So let us take the problem at first. See, a very simple problem we have taken so that it will be clear for our understanding. 3 coins are tossed. 3 coins are tossed. Find the probabilities of number 1, 0 head, 1 head, 2 heads or 3 heads. Number 2, second part of the problem, more than 1 head. And number 3, third part of the problem is at least 1 head, right? So 3 coins are tossed and we are going to find the probabilities of getting some various kinds of heads, like various numbers of heads, like first part 0 head, second part 1 head, likewise. Okay. So now see, if I go for the probability model of binomial distribution, the very first thing is number of trials is fixed. How many trials will be there? How many trials will be there? What is your total number of trials here?
3.
3. Okay. Okay, fine. First criteria. Second, they are saying that each trial results in one of the two possible outcomes. Each trial, whenever you are tossing a particular coin, in the first trial, what will happen? Either you will get a success or you will get a failure. Okay, what will be your success over here? Since we need to know the number of heads, so head will be our success and tail will be our failure. So only two possible outcomes will be there for each trial, that is either head or a tail, right? Number 3, trials are independent in nature. Obviously, the first trial does not depend on the second one, or you can say the rather first how come it will be dependent. Second trial does not depend on the first one, or you can say the third trial does not depend on first and second. So all trials are independent. All tosses are independent over here. Okay. Number 4, probability of success remains constant from trial to trial. What is the probability of success for your first trial?
Half. 1/2.
Half.
Half. Okay. What is the probability of success for your second trial?
Half.
Again half. Probability of success for the third trial, again half. So whoever is doing the experiment, whether it is mine or you are doing the experiment, each for every person, the probability of success for each particular trial will remain half. Okay, so probability of success remains constant from trial to trial. So all the criteria are satisfied in the probability model for a binomial distribution. So that's why we can tackle out this problem with using binomial distribution. So let us do the problem now. What they are saying that they are denoting the random variable x as the number of heads obtained in the toss of 3 coins. Okay, so x is our random variable denoting the number of heads. P is what? Small p is what? Probability of success. That means probability of getting a head. So probability of success in each trial is known to us. What is that? That is half. What is your q? Q is 1 minus p. So again it is half. And what is the total number of trials that you have just told now? That is n equals to 3. So see all the parameters. If the parameters of a distribution is known to you, then you can tackle out the problem for finding the probability utilizing that distribution. So how many parameters are there? 2, n and p, and n and p are known to us. Okay, now we can move on for the problem. What is the problem? The very first part they are saying, find the probability of getting 0 head. Find the probability of getting 0 head. So what will be your corresponding probability then? Your capital X here is denoting the number of heads. So which probability I required now? If you can tell me. Our capital X is denoting number of heads in the experiment. Okay?
X equals to
Yes, we require to find out for the first part that probability x equals to 0. Now according to PMF, I can write it as, what is the PMF? If you can go through the structure of PMF, what is the structure of PMF in binomial distribution? NCX, p to the power of x, q to the power of n minus x. Okay, where n, p, q all are known to us. So NCX, n is what? For this particular problem, our n is 3. So 3c, what is your x value? Small x value is 0. 3c 0. Then multiplied by p to the power of x. What is p? For this particular problem, our p is probability of success is half. So p to the power x, x means 0. What is q? Q to the power of n minus x. What is q? Q is 1 minus half, that is again half. So half to the power n minus x. N minus x means 3 minus 0, so it is 3 again. So you just are going to evaluate, you can use your calculator to evaluate this part, and this will gives you your required probability value of getting 0 head in the 3 tosses. Is this clear to all?
Yes, ma'am.
So what actually we have found over here? We have actually found F0. According to PMF, if I write, we have found F0. Right? Now, for the next problem, For the next part of the problem, what they are saying that probability of getting, similarly this will be done. Probability of getting one head means probability x equals to 1. That means we are going to find f1. Probability x equals to 2 for 2 heads. Probability x equals to 3 for 3 heads. Now look at the second part. More than one head. Probability of getting more than one head. Probability of getting more than one head. Can you tell me how will I go for that? Probability of getting more
X
than
equals to 2 plus X equals to 3.
X equals
Add
to 2
x equals to 2 and x equals to 3.
equal to 3.
probability x equals to 2 plus probability x equals to 3. That means it is either 2 head or 3 heads. More than one head means either I will get 2 heads or I will get 3 heads. Probability x equals to 3. That means what we are evaluating actually F2 plus F3, and by formula we can very easily find F2 plus F3. What is F2? According to formula, this will be 3C2. P to the power 2, P means half to the power 2, P to the power x into 1 minus P, that means Q to the power n minus x, that is again half to the power n minus x means 3 minus 2, that is 1. So if you can evaluate this part, this will give you the probability of more than one head, right? Acha, next what they are saying, at least one head. At least one head. How can I do for that?
1 minus P X equals to 0.
At least one head means what are the possible events? Either it will be one head, or it will be 2 head, or it will be 3 head. That means in total we require to find out F1 plus F2 plus F3. These are our all possibilities. This is our required probability. Instead of evaluating all three, I am making it as 1 minus F0. Is it okay for all? Is this okay for all? Instead of evaluating all three, I am making making it as 1 minus F0. What does it signify? See, because sum of all probabilities, the total probability value will be equals to 1. So total probability is what? Either 0 head or 1 head or 2 head or 3 head, not less than that, not more than that. It can't be less than 0, it can't be more than 3. So we have considered over here all probabilities, and sum of all probabilities is 1. So if I require to find the sum of these three, then I can write it as 1 minus f of 0. So now I just evaluate f of 0, that is 3c0, as we have done over there. F of 0 already we have evaluated. 3c0, p to the power of 0, and q to the power of 3, where p and q both are half. Okay. So in this way, we are going to tackle out the problems if it is from the binomial distribution. Is this problem is clear to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any doubt over here? In any part of the problem?
ম্যাম ওখানে f2 শুধু ভ্যালুটা লিখলেন 3c2 half to the power 2 আর ওই f3 এরটা ওটা কি
Sorry. Plus f3. That means 3c3. It will be there. 3c3 half to the power 3. And again,
half to the power 0.
Half to the power 0. 3 minus 3 means half to the power 0. This will accumulate. Anything else? Now see, I am going to tell you one thing. Look at the problem. Here we have taken 3 points. Okay, what is the problem? Where we have taken 3 points are tossed. Okay. Now, instead of 3 points, if I give you 50 points also in this particular problem, then also it will be easier to tackle out, because this much work only we need to do, whether the number of points will be 3 or the number of points will be 50. Is this clear? Because where will be the change? Only the total number of trials will change. Else, whatever the problem or whatever the task or whatever the steps we have done, all the steps will remain same. Just in the evaluation, utilizing the calculator, instead of 3, we need to put it on as 50. Right? Instead of 3, the total number of trials will be changed to 50. So in this way, as I have told you in our previous class also, that why probability distribution is introduced for tackling out large scale problems, to overcome the difficulties in probability theory for large scale problems. This type of probability distributions are introduced. I think now it is clear to you all that how the probability distribution is helping you in large scale problems. If it is not, then you can ask me again. Is this clear to you all that how the probability distribution is helping you by after doing this problem? How the probability distribution is helping you in tackle out large scale problem? Is this concept is clear to all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because instead of 3 coins, or you can say if I take an experiment of tossing a coin 20 times, tossing a coin 20 times, and I want to know the probability of 0 hit. I want to know probability of getting 0 hits. I'm tossing the coin 20 times and I want to know the probability of getting 0 hits. And how can I tackle out the problem? The same task, probability x equals to 0. If x, your random variable, is denoting the number of hits, then I need to find out probability x equals to 0. And then where will be the difference? What is the difference then? I'm tossing it 20 times. So total number of trials will be 20. So it becomes 20 C0 half to the power of 0, because p to the power of x, our x is 0. And the probability of getting a head in each trial is half. So half to the power of 0, and another q to the power n minus x. Q is again half, n minus x means 20. So this first thing you need to evaluate. Instead of this, we are going to evaluate this in terms of decimal points. Right? So whatever the large scale problem, instead of 20 toss, if someone told you to do 100 toss also, this much work you need to do in each and every problem, whatever the large scale it will be. Okay. Now I think it is clear to you that how the probability distribution helping us in tackling out the large scale problems. Okay. Then after the problem, then again I'm going for the properties. Whatever the binomial distribution, we have seen a problem as an example of the binomial model we have seen. Now look at the properties. Just have a look on that, because some of the properties we are going to prove in our further part of syllabus. So the first property, they are saying that it is a discrete probability distribution where the random variable assumes a finite number of values 0, 1 to n. The random variable x is assuming finite number of values ranging from 0 to n, and it is a discrete probability distribution. Oh, okay. Or you can say it is a distribution for discrete random variable, for the case of discrete random variable. So next part, the mean of binomial distribution. Mean of binomial distribution in the sense, mean of a random variable following binomial distribution, that will be n into p, product of two parameters, n into p. Variance is n into p into q, product of all three, n, p and 1 minus p, that is q. And if variance is npq, then obviously standard deviation will be square root of npq. And some more quantities are there, that is skewness, q minus p by root over npq, kurtosis 1 minus 6pq by root over npq. Okay. And then they have taken the binomial distribution in the bivariate case. If x is a random variable following binomial n1p, N1 is a parameter for the random variable X. N1T. N1 is the total number of trials in one experiment for the random variable X. And another random variable, if I take Y for binomial N2P, then sum of these two random variable follows binomial N1 plus N2P. That means now the total number of trial becomes N1 plus N2 if I take the sum of two random variables X plus Y. Okay. So in this way, we are going on for binomial distribution. One more problems I have taken over here. We will discuss out the mean and variance in our next class. Achha. In our next class, one more problem. See what we have taken over here. That suppose a quiz consists of 4 multiple choice questions, each of which has 3 possible answers to select from. Each question is worth 1 point for a total possible score of 4 points. 4 questions are there, 3 possible answers to select, multiple choice. For wrong answer, no points will be given. If someone is guessing the answer for each question independently, then what is the probability of getting a score 4, 0, more than 2, 2 or more, or at least 1? Okay. So what is the random variable X is denoting over here? X is the total score obtained by some particular person. Okay. So what is that? That means what is the total number of trials? How many trials we can do? What is the total number of trials? Just 2 parameters. If you know the 2 parameters, then the work is done for binomial. What is the total number of trials?
4.
Yes, good. It is 4. N equals to 4. And what is the probability of success for each trial?
कितने ऑप्शन सही होंगे मैम?
3 possible answers are given.
1 by 3.
1 by 3. Among 3, we have to select any one. So, probability of getting a particular answer among 3 is 1 by 3. So, probability of success, P, we have got 1 by 3. So, what is the model? X is following binomial NP. Binomial NP. That means 4, 1 by 3. Now, 1 by 1, we can find out the probabilities. Probability that X equals to 4 will be NC4, P to the power 4, Q to the power of 4 minus 4. X equals to 0 will be whatever. It will go accordingly as we have done for the previous. Okay. So, only by looking at the problem, whether it is for the binomial distribution, we need to get on the 2 parameters, that is N and P. If these 2 parameters are known to you, you can tackle out whatever the probability given to you in your problem. Okay. So today we have discussed binomial model and the related problems. Next class we are going to discuss out the properties of whatever we have learned in properties, that is mean and variance, how to obtain the mean and variance of binomial.